Chapter 1, Cage Fight, January 5th, 2028. Honey, the moment I step into the cage, I'm the star, I wear what pleases me most. Painting my face to fit my mood. The one place I don't have to bite my tongue. No pretending to be less than I am. Not that I have much to say to anyone here. Bright lights fall on me, people cheering in the dark, calling the name I gave them. I'm surrounded by the sounds and smells of a crowd full of people. There is an energy of excitement that engulfs this moment. No matter how many times I've done this, it's always the same. I've prepared for days. This stage is my freedom, and here is where I take out all my frustrations about life. I can't be foolish or childish about this. It is serious. I never know who is truly going to be on the other side of that ring from me. No one can fight this for me. No one can tell me what to do in the ring. Even the people that think they own me have no say once the gate closes behind me. If I make money, they let me do what I want. Most of the time, I dress like the dullest tree in the forest. In the ring, I am bold, out loud, and in your face. I know, without a doubt, I am too much for them to handle. When most see me walking into the ring, they know I am always the biggest dick in the room. They know messing with me will cost them. Inside the ring, I bring every advantage I can put on my body. I am always happy when they let me fight in my full gear. I am always grateful when I am not made to fight naked. It's happened a few times, and it has made me rethink how creative I can be. Everything I wear has a reason. My skin is covered in black and yellow stripes, some silver can be seen hidden underneath. My colors are a distraction to hide my tricks. My arm bandages hid the chainmail gloves and large knuckle supporters with the steel joints. My feet have the same bandages. My shirt, boxer shorts, a well-fitted sports bra on top of my tightly fitted Spanx, hid homemade carbon fiber body pads made of paper and plastic that kept me from bruising too badly. My knees have steel plates I cast from scrap metal and sharpened for weeks to ramrod cups to pieces. My body is tan and toned from a lifetime of fighting. My muscles are well toned, and I'd been fighting all month long, so I was well fed and had plenty of time in the training yard. I have taken down every man, woman, monster and beast they have put on the other side of that cage. I smile to myself thinking, nuts are my favorite things to crack. My hands are covered in chainmail and metal plates to give me double the impact while shielding me from any knives they might be hiding. My mouth guard is the only protection they gave me. I improved it by adding sharpened fangs to make me look as much like a lioness as I could. My honey blonde hair is pulled back with zip ties holding short spikes in place. My mane-like mohawk was long past my waist, but when I put it up and style it, I am the queen and the spikes in my hair are my crown. I take notes from honeybees. I may look sweet to touch, I am always ready to sting. Before I put them in my hair, I dip them in I always paint a black mask around my amber eyes so they seem like they're stalking you. Like a lioness in the grass, I'm the Leona bee. Will I sting, bite or claw? I am the motherfucking queen of this jungle. The answer doesn't matter, I will do whatever it takes to get the job done. After all, I know I want it more than all of them. No matter how big or small, I always want it more. Knowing that makes me a crazy creative bitch. At the gate, I am already drowning out the world, watching my opponent on the other side of the cage. I don't care about the people in those seats. They're not here for me anyway. The words that have always carried me here. My father's words rang in my ears. When you make your first move, don't let them see where it is coming from, make a show out of every action you take. They raise that gate, and we are in the ring together. When it closes behind us, there is no turning back. Today is a boy who must be 2 or 3 years older than me. He's taunting me with insults, trying to get into my head, but I am unfazed. I just crack a toothy grin. Sometimes they send me trembling children, other times, they send me battle-hardened veterans or bloodthirsty monsters that would like to torture me to tears. Despite my age, this is my 300th battle in rings like this. No, I haven't won them all, but it's been a long time since I've gone down. 24 more battles, and it will be 9 years since I've come into the hands of these people. The crowd goes silent when a red-haired woman walks down the stairs. Like everyone in the audience, she is wearing a mask. Hers is made of green leather with bits of sparkles all over it. Her brightly colored red hair cascaded down her shoulders, striking against the deep green clothes that she wore. She wore a green pinstriped pantsuit. Her thigh-high boots were the same expensive leather as her mask. She held a black walking stick in her hands as she descended the stairs, slowly taking her time. The spotlight follows her as she makes her way to the front row platform, which has a throne-like chair on it. Other people were already seated to the left and right of the tallest chair. There were a row of armed men between the platform and the crowds. This is where she takes her place, nodding at the people to the left and right of her. She waves her hand, and the crowds all start cheering. Even my opponent was watching her. But not me, I was looking at him. Once she is seated, the mic is handed to the MC. Magic the mic. Hello, and good evening to you all. You can just call me Magic the Mic. The crowd exploded into cheers. Thank you all for coming for tonight's entertainment. Please thank our great hosts for sponsoring our stay here in the Black Forest of Germany. A man and woman dressed in black waved their hands from the platform. Please put your hands together for our great and beautiful chairwoman and conductor of tonight's entertainment, Victoria Montenegro. The crowds are twice as loud when Victoria stands and blows kisses to the crowds as Mike continues. As I introduce to you our entertainment, we have in our cage tonight from the East United in Cuddy Gutter vs the Western CEOs Leona BE. Their response was good on his side, but once my name was said, the crowd lost it. My name meant money. I used it to my favor and raised my arm, letting their energy fill my spine to my brain with electricity. Now I was ready for all that was coming my way. We are told to stand on the X's on the floor. Start! I was called, and that was my cue to circle him, staring him down while I was constantly looking for an opening in his defenses. It was 5 minutes in, and he was an impatient one. Lunging at me, I tumbled past him and was up out of his line of sight. Slamming my fists into his kidneys, 3 punches for each one. Then backing out of his reach. He clutched his sides, looking a little green around the edges, but he seemed like he was holding up. He glared at me, trying to figure out how to bridge the gap between us. Carefully stalking and circling, waiting for his lunge to come, and it would. It came to my face. He nicked my cheek. It was stinging. I could smell the blood running down my cheek, but his little jab gave me the opening to get close and grab him around the waist, digging my claws in. He tried to shove me, but I wasn't letting go. I rammed my knee into his nutsack. I feel the crunch of a cup beneath my steel. He gave one of the most satisfactory squealings I ever rang from a boy or man. Then I head-butted him in the stomach, leaving little bloody pricks from my hair spikes. This knocks him to the ground clutching his man-bits, and I circle him closer, just out of arm's length. I decided to put him out of his misery, putting on my bone-chilling smile of death and destruction. I kneel on his chest as he stares up at me. I spread my arms wide and ball my fist up till my plated index knuckles slam into his temples. His eyes rolled back into his head. Once more, I spread my arms again and then slammed my palms on his jaw next to his ears. They would be ringing right now. Then I stood up to slam him in the nuts one more time for good measure, and he was down. He passed out. I put my foot on his chest, and a 10 count came and went. When the 10 was called, and I won, I didn't wait for someone to lift my arm in the air or put a belt on me. I went to the door of that cage and waited for it to open, never looking back. I'm locked in a bathroom with my trainer Manfred Cross at the door. He is the scariest motherfucker I've ever met. At 7 feet 3 inches, he is more like a mountain giant than a man. I'd put him in his 40s at this point. The most solid creature I have ever had my ass kicked by. Over the years, I've made a lot of guesses about Manfred. I could tell by his accent he was maybe English. His head was shaved bald. Manfred's face was covered with an auburn color, stabby short beard. His eyes were these piercing beads of cobalt blue. He had even more scars and tattoos than me. I also know he used to be a gun for hire, as well as ex-military training. I've always done well for him in fights, and he knows this. So, if I can stand, he will do whatever it takes to keep the motherfuckers away from me. Before I strip down, I check every stall and corner of the room. My cleaning supplies and first aid box are on the bench. I start taking off and cleaning everything piece by piece, laying it all out to dry. I was naked and ready for my shower. This will be the last moment of alone time for a month. So, I take my time getting clean. Tomorrow is basic for the new kids. I have been working with them for a couple of months and it will be time for their first fight. If they do well, they move on to higher training. Those that don't are taken to other entertainment places for jobs I don't want to think about. I can't stand being naked for long, it's too vulnerable for me. I shut off the water and dry myself off, then dress. Bandaged all my bleeding parts and had all my stuff packed to go. I knocked on the door, and Manfred let me out. I handed him my bag. This was the part that I hated the most. I was annoyed with what I had to wear. Using a long coat to cover most of myself until we get there. Manfred drives me to a house in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by black pine trees. It looked like a gingerbread house on steroids. It was an all-wood house with weird slanting roofs. It could have been a really big barn for all I knew. Kind of rustic looking. This would be the temporary place Victoria set up her secret garden of beautiful things. I might just have to climb this building when no one was looking. That is something I do in my spare time. Manfred walks me in, he has to take his place beside Victoria. I am expected to walk around and talk to these people. All around me were people dressed in their best, trying to show off to everyone their money and power. You could easily tell the guests from the servers. The guests all had masks and fine clothes. The servers were naked men, women, and children of all kinds of ages. The guest verily even flinched when the naked people wearing nothing but golden chains walked around serving everyone. Unless they were the ones that liked what they saw, hoping to take a sample home with them for the night. This is one of the possible places you could end up if you couldn't make it as a fighter. I'm dressed in the latest fashion for someone my age. Tonight was not a lucky night. What was laid out for me could verily be called a dress, more like a sparkly apron. It had two sections that covered my small but perky breasts and flaps that covered my front and back privet bits. The only thing that kept it on me was the strings on the sides that left my skin and most of my body exposed all up and down the sides. I put on makeup and jewelry. Finally are the fucking wedged lace-up sandals that are 3 inches high. I fucking hate dresses and high heels. Even before I've stepped into the house, my skin begins to crawl, with what I like to call the electric prickles. It's this stinging, almost painful feeling I get all over my skin. It happens when someone touches me unwantedly or when someone stares me down with bad intentions in their mind. Their intentions were always bad. I've paraded around for her people, they pat my head, touch me, and men and women even fondle me at times. All I can do is stand there silently. Inside I wanted to scream at all of them. There were even moments when the prickles were so bad I even imagined peeling my skin off might help. So, I stand as stiffly as possible, acting like a dumb, wordless monster with my active bitch face on. This kept most of them away. I was not afraid to make eye contact with them like the servers. I might pretend to be a monster, but they were the monsters. Deep down, I think they knew that but have crossed a line no human being should ever cross if they hope to walk out with their humanity. When I'm by myself, I think about those uncrossable lines and hope I can always keep myself from having to cross a place where I would lose it. But as time has gone on inside this place, I know they will expect me to choose my security over my humanity. The only thing these people see me as is a dumb fighter living for blood in the ring. I stayed as quiet as I could get away with. I greeted people politely but simply nodded as they talked to me. So, none of them could tell I had a brain between my ears. After letting them pet me publicly, I'm taken to Victoria. So, she can glory and gloat over my victory like it was all hers. Beautiful I was in my new dress. Gushing over the fight, knowing I was the best and there wasn't anyone in the industry that could take me down. Praising Manfred for my training and kissing his cheek. In moments like this, I wonder if Manfred has wished to rip her face off. When Victoria takes a long green claw, holding my face to look her in the eyes. Kissing me on both cheeks like she was branding me with her red lipstick. Her green eyes were the only ones I had to fool as she appraised me with her soulless gaze. Oh, Leona B., my Leona B., your performance was like a work of art. The most exciting entertainer I've had in years. Bravo, my darling, bravo. I lower my head, reciting this phrase I've had to say a million times while pretending to be so grateful for everything she gives me. Thank you, Madam Victoria, your sponsorship means the world to me. Her smile is empty to me as she agrees with me. I'm sure it does, darling. Now Manfred, it's time to take my Leona B back. Make sure to feed her well as a reward for what a good job she's done for me. Sky's the limit today. I plead my gratitude to her as she dismisses me back to the pits with my kids. Thank you for all that you do for us, Madam Victoria. Manfred nods his head at me, leading me out to the jeep. The moment I am in the jeep and down the road, I am ripping the clothes off me, stuffing them in a garment bag. Wiping my face with makeup wipes, I have inside my bag I named Stella. Manfred uninterested in me, and I know he gives me nothing to worry about. Pulling out of my bag, jeans and a hoodie. Being back in street clothes helps me to start calming down. But it doesn't take the prickles from my skin to distract me from thinking about all those filthy people touching me. I start thinking about what food I'm bringing back with me when I tell Manfred. I want to stop at a grocery store. Manfred looks at me sideways, and I stare him down, shrugging. That's where I want to eat. He tells me. Spoiling them won't do them any good, honey. I just roll my eyes at him for telling me something stupid I already know. Aside from Manfred and my kids, no one says my name out loud. When I came to this place with these people, I spent 2 years as a mindless fighting machine. But one day, I woke up, and I was in the hands of unfamiliar faces. The only thing they called me was a bag of cuss because the only things that left my mouth were cuss words. I say to Manfred, "You don't know what you're talking about, I'm spoiling myself. They are just getting my leftovers. Whatever you say, honey." I repeat to him as sarcastically as I can. He knows I wasn't budging. So, he takes me to a 24-hour grocery store. He hands me a card and expects me to be back in an hour. I step into the air-conditioned store. I grab 3 cards. Only one person is manning the store this late. He was falling asleep at the register. I figured I could press my luck. The first things I grab are cleaning hygiene products and first aid supplies to resupply the stash I have here in Germany. Then I buy candles, matches, and batteries of different sizes. As much construction paper as I could get my hands on for some of my projects I had going. I also picked up what few tools I could find here. Then I shoveled as much food into my carts as I could. I load up on bread, cheese, small pints of milk, and as much fruit as I can get my hands on. I shop like a mom who only gets to shop once a month. Lastly, I grab some multi-packs of chocolates, gummies, Suckers chips, and my one vice in this life, Starburst. I will only share the yellows. No one likes yellow. Then I look around the electronics. I grabbed a Music Shuffle knockoff that already has 10 songs on it and some headphones. Handily, I picked up a couple of cell phones after I checked everything out. I went to load my stuff into bags and slipped them into the mixed bag of chips, sticking it near the bottom of the pile. I left the Music Shuffle on top. Just as I expected, the bell went off, and I left my cart on the other side of the scanner. I pulled out my receipt, and the Music Shuffle showed the man that walked over. He let me go with a wave. I went back to the car, loaded up, and we were gone. Manfred asked right away, "What did you steal?" "To keep them from trying to steal the one I bought." "You can take it if you want." I held it out for him knowing he wouldn't take it. "No, that's all right, but if anyone asks, I bought it for myself, and you stole it from me." I crack a toothy grin that doesn't faze Manfred like it does most people. "Whatever you say, Manfred." We drove the rest of the way in silence. I can't call Manfred a friend, he is the only person I ever let go with, he and I have secrets. I know some of his, and he knows some of mine. We came to an unspoken agreement to keep one another from others. Then Manfred claimed me as his girl. Most of the little shrimps that play games in the yards wouldn't dare touch me. Then he did his best to help me in whatever way he could, and I treated him like I thought he was human when it was just him and me. It took 2 hours to get back to the pit. This one was in the countryside. The pits are the places we are kept at. They could be the basement of an old building, the cold stone tower of a forgotten castle, or a damp warehouse by some docks. Each one had its own set of problems. The only place I ever really liked was when we were left out in the open to camp out. This compound wasn't the worst one, those had to be the Russian and African places they kept us in. This one didn't leak, and we had beds. We only had to walk a mile to get to the training yards. We pull as close to the hatch opening as possible. I lift the lid and holler down. This place must be an old bomb shelter. It was a flat slab of concrete from the outside. It had no windows or doors, the only light was a light bulb in the middle of the room. The power kicks out in the early morning, so it's dark a lot. The only way in was a trap door and a rope ladder you toss down. After I tossed down my duffel bag, that was all. I came down, and Manfred brought up the ladder and drove away until morning. Even before I got down the ladder, I knew something was up. My kids were awfully quiet. Once I got down there, I looked around, no one could look me in the eye. What the hell is the matter with you all? All their heads were down, and they pointed to the corner. There was a lump on the bed. I look at all of them. I knew it was little Kip, my smallest girl. Her breathing was shallow, and I checked her pulse. I bark out orders that everyone complies with without question. There are only 4 people that stay to help me take care of Kip. Foxy Moxie, a 17-year-old redhead with eyes as blue as the sea in a warm place. She is the oldest person here but has come to know I am not a bitch she should mess with. Next to me is Jinx, a dark-haired girl with the thickest bushiest black hair. She came from the Mediterranean Sea somewhere around Greece. Her olive skin and short stocky build made her look like a pit bull, quietly waiting for a fight. She was the person I left in charge when I was gone, which makes her as angry as me at the sight of Kip's rough state. She makes signs with her hands, telling me Kip had been thrown down here less than an hour ago. I just nod and speak. Get my bag now and don't touch my stuff till I get done cleaning her up. All boys sit at the wall and turn away from me now. Everyone silently does as I say. She has a high fever. I pulled my PMS pills out of the bag and snapped one in half, helping her take it with some water. I start to clean her up and see the full extent of what happened. A cold fury hit my stomach, and I yell at everyone. Who the fucking hell did this? My boy Rusty talked, his mouth is never quiet for long. With red hair, brown eyes, and a freckled face, he was the tallest. He is the only older boy I will ever let come near me. His ass belongs to Jinx, and she is not someone you should take lightly in dark places. But even Rusty wasn't talking in his usual swaggy, braggy ways. But he tells me, we were at training when someone came over to take Kip away. Tell me who the hell it was. My girl Dragonfly spoke, a black girl 3 years younger than me. Dragonfly's eyes were pitch black. Her hair was braided in neat rows. Her red-brown skin, a slimmer-built person was made for running and jumping. The person that has been here the longest aside from me. Like me, she was picked up in America. She is my guard dragon, always keeping her eyes out for trouble. I must keep my eyes on her. She likes to follow me around like a puppy. If she thinks the other kids are getting more of my attention than her. When I'm not around, she picks on the younger kids. Especially my baby boy Leoden. She knows he is my favorite and can't always stand it that I treat him a little more softly than the rest. Dragonfly never misses details. That is why I make it a task to give her special things to do, so she thinks she is doing me a favor. Telling her to guard our temporary home while I am gone makes her happy. When I come back, I make a note to praise her for her job well done. Honey, it was JJ. A fury was building in me. I just nodded them all. I had to know so I would punish the right person. Okay, tomorrow I will be leaving first. Come in behind me, Dragonfly, count to 200 and count slowly. Then bring everyone with you. I'm probably going to be punished. Kip can't be moved for some days. Jinx, you stay with her, but you do your workout down here. You can't afford to lose to anyone. Do you all hear me? Yes, Miss Honey. It was said by all. I do get around to passing out my goodies. I place all my electronics in my bag in my secret liner. Then I stash my bag in a hidey hole. In case someone took my bag while I was gone. I could always come back for it later. I eat and spend the rest of the night holding Kip's hand and planning out every step of tomorrow. I get up early and dress like I am getting ready for war. The motherfucker won't see me coming. I spend my night going over every step again and again, playing it in my head like a bad movie. I didn't get much sleep, but I was glad to lose it tonight. I steeled my spine to take justice for my kids. He wouldn't get